Welcome back to Hashem Loves You. This week we're going to be discussing that no matter what we do, no matter where we are always considered as children to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Gemara Mesechtas Kedushin, Lamevav and Aleph, it brings down a machlokes Remeir and Rabbi Yehuda. Remeir and Rabbi Yehuda have an argument regarding the pasuk, Banim atem LaHashem Elokeichem, you are children to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your God. Rabbi Yehuda explains the pasuk to mean that when we are acting in the way that we're supposed to, then we're considered as children to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we're not acting the way we're supposed to, then we're not considered as children to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Remeir argues in that and says that no matter what, whether we are acting as we should or whether we are not acting as we should, regardless, we are considered children to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I just want to speak out for a moment. What's the difference? What are the implications of being a child? Being a child to HaKadosh Baruch Hu means that we have a father-child relationship, we have a parent-child relationship that is unconditional love. Rabbi Yehuda says that no, the love is conditional. It's when we act as we should. Rabbi Meir says that no, the love is unconditional. Whether we're acting as a child should, or whether we're not acting as a child should, but benkach u benkach, regardless, we are considered children to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Rabbi Meir goes and brings down four proofs as proof to this concept that we're always considered children to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The first proof that he brings is for the pasuk in Yirmiyahu, which says, Banim schalam hema, they are foolish sons. That despite the fact that we're acting foolish, the pasuk calls us sons. The second pasuk, it says, Banim le'uman bam, sons in whom there is no faithfulness. That even when we're not acting with faithfulness, we are still called sons. The third pasuk is Zera mireim banim mashchisim, a seed of evildoers, sons who deal corruptly. That even when we're considered evildoers and we're dealing corruptly, we're still called sons. And the fourth proof is, it says, V'haya b'mkayim asher ye'amar lahem, lo ami atem, ye'amar lahem b'ni el chai. That instead of what was said to them, you are not my people, it should be said to them, sons of the living God. That even when people are saying about us that maybe we're not the people of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're still called the son of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Gemara asks, why is it necessary to bring down all these proofs? All these proofs essentially seem to be saying the same thing. That to sum it up, when we're not acting as we should, we're still called the sons of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why is it so important to bring down four psukim, four different proofs hammering the same point? The Gemara explains that from each one of these proofs, there's something that to learn that we wouldn't have known just from the other proof, just from the other psukim. The Gemara explains, for if you would say that granted when we behave foolishly, when we're foolish, we're considered the sons of Hashem, like the pasuk says, Banim schalam hema, they're foolish sons. But I would think that if we act unfaithful, if we're not just acting foolish, but we're unfaithful, that we would not be called sons. Therefore, we brought down the next pasuk to say that even when we act unfaithful, we're still considered sons. And if you would say, despite the fact that we're unfaithful, we're still considered sons. But I would think maybe, God forbid, if we're worshiping idols, if we're Ovdei Avodah Zarah, maybe we would not be called sons. Therefore, Remeir brings the next pasuk, which says, a seed of evildoers, sons who deal corruptly, which is alluding to the corruption of Avodah Zarah, the corruption of idol worship. That even then, even when we are Ovdei Avodah Zarah, we are still considered sons to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if you would think that although at that point, when we're Ovdei Avodah Zarah, we're still called sons to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but maybe we're not full-fledged sons to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we bring down the last pasuk that says, and it will be that instead of what was said to them, you are not my people, it shall be said to them, sons of a living God. That even if they're saying that because we're Ovdei Avodah Zarah, we're not Hashem's people, that's not accurate. We are still considered the son of a living God, we're still considered the son of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Ben Yehoyada, on his commentary on this Gemara, he brings down a Rashba, which tells us something fascinating. The Rashba says like this, that even though typically all across Shas, in any time in the Talmud and the Gemara, any time there's a machlekes, Remeir and Rabbi Yehuda, we always paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. When Remeir and Rabbi Yehuda have an argument about something, the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda and not like Remeir. But says the Rashba, that in this case, In this case, but we have the machlokes Rameir and Yehuda. Are we only considered sons when we're behaving as we should? Or are we even considered sons when we're not behaving as we should? In this case, the halacha is like Rameir. The halacha is like Rameir. This is the exception to the rule that the halacha is always like Rabbi Yehuda. In this case, the halacha is like Rameir. And then the Ben Yehoyada says very interesting. He says there's actually a hint to this. This is alluded to a pasuk in a pasuk in Mishlei. The pasuk in Mishlei in Parak Dalet pasuk Chaf says like this: Bini lidvarei hakshiva, my son, listen to my words. La'amorai hat oznecha, incline your ear to what I am saying. The Ben Yehoyada says if you take the word la'amorai and you arrange the letters, it no longer reads la'amorai, it now reads lemeir. And if you read the pasuk with lemeir, the pasuk reads like this: B'ni lidvarei hakshiva, my son, listen to my words. Lemeir hat aznecha, incline your ear to what Meir is saying. Listen to what Rameir is saying. Rameir is saying that even when you've done something wrong, no matter where you are always a son to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then the Ben Yehoyada ends off, he says, and if we could really internalize that fact, if we could really incline our ear to what Rameir is saying, that no matter what we've done wrong, whether we're corrupt, we're foolish, we're not acting as we should, no matter what it is that we've been doing, the halacha is like Rameir, that banayim, we are considered sons to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and then Ben Yehoyada says that if you could internalize that fact, that banayim, that you are still considered a son to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you will never give up on the mercy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for you. After all, you're his son. There's unconditional love. You're his son. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will always act merciful to you no matter what you've done, because you are his son. And now, the Ben Yehoyada says something that is truly fascinating, truly mind-blowing. Rameir was buried in a standing position. Yidden are not buried in a standing position, they're buried laying down. But Rameir was buried in a standing position. There are various reasons given as to why Rameir was buried in a standing position, but says the Ben Yehoyada, you want to know why Rameir was buried in a standing position? Because he gives Klal Yisrael the ability to stand. He gives us legs to stand on. Rameir tells us that no matter where we're holding and no matter what we're doing, do not give up on Hashem's mercy. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you as a child. There is unconditional love. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the ability to stand at our lowest point and our lowest place, therefore, says the Ben Yehoyada, Rameir was buried in a standing position because of what he accomplished with this ruling. That benkach u benkach banehim, no matter what, no matter where, no matter how, we are sons to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are deserving of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mercy, and we have unconditional love from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to try to internalize that Hashem loves us like we're his children. If we can really, truly internalize this idea that we are children of Hashem, we will find that we will start behaving differently. We will act differently. We will start acting as a child should. But even if we haven't been, even if we feel we haven't been acting as we should, sometimes we feel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu might love him. He doesn't love me. You know what I've been doing? You know where I've been? You know what I've done? Even if we fall into a low place or a low state of mind, we don't lose out our privileged status. This is the exception to the rule that the halacha follows Rameir, that we are still called Hashem's children. And as the Ben Yehoyada says, and therefore, we should never give up on the mercy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for us.